Welcome to the CDAIO Magazine interview series. I'm Amy Jones with EY. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Paula Osborn, Deputy Chief AI and Data Officer at the Department of State. Thanks for joining us today, Paula.
Thanks for having me, Amy.
Really excited to talk to you about the journey that you've been on and some of the leadership and forward-facing role you've taken. Data literacy within the federal agencies, particularly the Department of State, is still maturing. Can you talk to us about some of the key challenges that you've faced in enabling use cases and how you're addressing the gap in data literacy?
It's been a really exciting time. I've been at the department for over 8 years, and I've worked in data the whole time I've been there. And so it was a lot like sort of like pulling teeth from working with people in the beginning, getting them to care about data, to track data, and all of that. But with the release of ChatGPT and Gen AI, it's like exploded. And there is so much interest, which is amazing. And so we started with collecting AI use cases for Gen AI tools. The first being ChatGPT, which we have terms of service with, which means there's a couple of different things in there. But in particular, if you use your state email address, they won't use any of our questions or anything as their training data. They won't release the input questions that we put in and so forth. And then when we got our state chat, our own internal chatbot into our sensitive environment, which I'm sure we'll talk more about later, more use cases for that. But when it comes to data literacy, because of course it's more than just AI literacy, it's like data literacy in general, it is extra tricky at the department because we're so gigantic. It's not just headquarters, but it's all of our embassies abroad as well. So we have at the department the Foreign Service Institute. It's like our campus where we have a bunch of internal training, and they have a branch that does training specifically for data literacy. And so we have a bunch of different trainings under that. We have sort of like Excel, data literacy for executives, a whole bunch of different types of training there that people can take virtually or in person. And then with State Chat and ChatGPT, we've sort of like blitzed on all kinds of different training, which has been super successful. So we have training at different hours. So during the week, we have them at 6 a.m. and 9 p.m. so we can get the whole globe. We have focus groups, we have coaching sessions, we have office hours. It's really sort of like the full court press on how to do training, but we have like huge numbers showing up to these trainings. So the ones that we have usually hundreds of people showing up to them, which has been awesome.
Paula, you alluded to this, but with the headquarters and embassies and those kinds of things, but your user base is enormous. Can you give us a little bit of an example of some of the different profiles that you're trying to reach?
Yeah, all kinds of different ones. So we have at embassies, we have political officers and economic officers, and their main job is reporting. So they meet with contacts, go to events, sort of keep a pulse on what's going on in countries, report back to headquarters. We have public diplomacy officers and public affairs officers who do sort of like traditional media messaging work. We have financial officers, management officers, like really the human rights, HR officers, all sort of like everything across the board, management as well as foreign affairs, and then same thing in headquarters. And it's super massive, tens of thousands of employees of all different ages as well. And then ranks, right? From like ambassador all the way down to intern. So that is totally right. Trying to be able to curate data and AI literacy, upskilling for such a like wide range of people in a bunch of different with different skill sets in different time zones has been interesting. But I think that's why being able to offer um, different trainings and having like office hours and people who want to follow up with like one-on-ones, we do that. We also have really leaned into this year, like this fiscal year, we're especially working on attending. There's um, workshops. So our diplomatic technology, like our IT officers, all have an annual workshop. Our management officers in different regions have annual workshops. And so attending these annual workshops and being able to present to like the hundreds of these officers has been like a really great way to target them as well. Um, in large amounts of people. And at all of those workshops, we also do office hours to be able to really sort of walk some people through who have like never even been on ChatGPT or who are scared of it. So yeah, it does take a lot of bandwidth. But I think any organization that really wants to upskill has to be ready to put in the time.
Love how you're meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
And making sure that you're capturing everyone and kind of bringing everyone along, making it accessible. I want to double click on something that you just said around fear, specifically within sensitive environments like the missions of the Department of State with diplomacy. We're hearing an equal amount of excitement and fear. And so, what are the steps that you're taking to build confidence and alleviate the concerns, especially around the use of data in these systems?
Yeah, we work super closely with diplomatic technology, like our IT branch, and then we have diplomatic security as well. And both of them are in charge of cybersecurity. And they're both really big branches of the State Department. And we work like really hand in hand with like the chief information officer and leadership and working level at both diplomatic security and diplomatic technology. So in working with them, like they are able to make sure that, we want to make sure we're able to move fast to meet the needs of the department and what they want. But they make sure that every step of the way, everything we're doing is super, super secure. So we make sure that we message that. And uh, all of the time when my boss, the chief data and AI officer, talks, he almost always talks with the chief information officer. So they're able to simultaneously talk about the security safety side of information as well as like the developments on AI. And so I think that has really alleviated a lot of people's concerns. We also bake it into the trainings that we do. Um, and there's almost inevitably a question about this, about how do we protect the information, and we go through all of these the checks and balances we have with different bureaus on this. So it is like of utmost priority for us, for sure.
All right. Thanks, Paula Osborn, for joining me today. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.